As we mentioned that the requirements collection is a very important topic and very important process. So in this session, we'll also explore the advanced techniques for collecting requirements, focusing on tools like surveys or direct observation and prototyping. Each of these methods serves a specific purpose on projects where stakeholder involvement and clarity of requirements are critical. For example, surveys help to gather insight from larger audience. Observations can be used to capture real-world workflows, while prototypes bring an abstract ideas to life. Understanding the strength and context of these techniques is essential for effective requirements gathering. To start with the surveys and questionnaires. So, surveys and questionnaires are fundamental tools for collecting data from multiple stakeholders quickly and effectively. These methods are particularly useful when engaging with a large audience, such as end users or customers. Surveys can provide a valuable quantitative metrics like the satisfaction scores and the qualitative insights such as the user preferences. However, to ensure the effectiveness of surveys, the question must, or to ensure the effectiveness of these surveys, you need to have these questions should be clear, unbiased, and aligned with the project objectives. Let's have now an overview on the steps that you can follow to develop an effective survey. So, developing a survey begins with defining its purpose. When you define its purpose, whether to go user satisfaction or to gather feature requirement or identify pain points, this is the first step where you have to identify the let's say the survey goal, okay, and how it's aligned with the project goals. Next, you may draft the concise and relevant questions, ensuring that they are unambiguous and for a better responses, mix the questions format like multiple choices or liked scales and open-ended queries. Before the full distribution of these surveys, after you have implemented the questions and you have aligned it with the project goals, you need to conduct, let's say, a pilot test with a smaller group to identify and rectify any issues that the surveys might have. Finally, you may leverage the digital tools for a wider reach and efficient analysis. Now let's talk about the direct observation as one of the key techniques also when collecting the requirements. So, a direct observation involves watching stakeholders perform their tasks in their usual environment. And this technique uncovers any inefficiencies or bottlenecks and even opportunities for improvement that may not surface during the interviews or surveys. It is especially useful for projects focusing on operational workflows or system enhancement or physical task performance. Now let's have an overview on the key benefits and challenges of the observation. So the main advantage of the direct observation is that it provides unbiased and real-time data, helping project teams to understand the workflows and identify the areas for improvement. However, the process can be time intensive and may introduce the observer bias, where the presence of observer might push the let's say the stakeholder or the user to change their behavior, which being observed. Now let's talk about the prototyping for requirements collection. So prototyping is one of the key tools that you might use in case if you are, let's say, developing a website or developing a projects that you may a technical project that you may come up with a simple prototype just to show it for the end users be so they can interact with it. So prototyping, um, it's mainly transforming the ideas into tangible models, enabling the stakeholders to visualize the end product. This technique fosters the collaboration and obtaining a quick feedback, helping clarify abstract requirements and aligning the expectations. By creating a prototype early in the project, teams can identify and resolve discrepancies, also reducing the potential issues during the later phases. Let's now understand what are the key types of prototyping. So, prototypes range from low fidelity, such as paper sketches and basic mockups, to high fidelity, like fully interactive models or functional demos. Choosing the right type depends on the project stage and requirements. Low fidelity prototypes are ideal for initial brainstorming, while high fidelity models are better suited for final refinements. Tools like wireframing or CAD for 3D modeling are commonly used in prototyping. Now let's talk about combining these techniques for a comprehensive insight. So, combining techniques like surveys, observations, and prototyping provides a holistic view of requirements. For instance, while surveys may reveal the user preferences, observations might highlight the practical challenges, and prototypes can validate the visibility of the solution. By integrating these methods, project teams can balance stakeholder expectation with the project constraints more effectively. Now let's have a look on, let's say, some real world application of using these advanced techniques or of using these tools. In real world scenarios, these techniques have distinct applications. For example, surveys help refine the feature during an app redesign by collecting user preferences, while observing manufacturing processes identifies the inefficiencies and optimization opportunities. Finally, prototyping in a new e-commerce interface allows for an interactive stakeholder feedback and adjustment. To summarize our session, we say that advanced techniques like surveys, observations, and prototyping are very valuable in the requirements collection process. Applying these techniques ensures that the project teams capture accurate and meaningful requirements, and combining these methods often provides a most comprehensive insight and bridging gaps between the stakeholder needs and the project deliverables.